So, Paul, we got a story that has to do with oil
Yeah,
as
our
well.
good friend Steve Mnuchin. I got a lot of oil stories today. So he essentially has been defending the oil industry and straight up mocking, that's actually in the title of the article, mocking a call for fossil fuel divestment. Quote, foreclosure king Steve Mnuchin tells Greta Thunberg to go study economics. This is misdirection. This is, gaslighting and everything, all kinds of mental manipulation all rolled into one. You're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. Go study economics. And it's like, well, wouldn't mind studying some economics from Dr. Richard Wolff. That seems like somebody we could study economics from that would probably agree with Greta Thunberg.
Yeah.
It seems like somebody to study economics from. But he comes from this ilk that is essentially like, oh no, the economy will grow forever. It'll all be fine. We have to have the oil. We need the subsidies for the oil. Oil companies got to have. How could we possibly divest from them? Blah, blah, blah. It's all gonna grow forever. Infinite money for the wealthy people. That's essentially what he's going. There isn't a whole lot to this story other than just like here's a person sitting in a cabinet position in power in the United States who sees fit to take time out of his day to mock a teenage climate activist from Europe.
Well, that's the thing.
Greta Thunberg is either building a strong enough movement that it is a major threat,
Exactly.
which is
Exactly.
that's the thing, awesome, or he's just so thin-skinned that he just has to come. He has to defend, the fossil fuel industry at every turn from every attack that comes at it. I think it's some combination of those two, but I'm leaning on the
Well,
former.
I would say he's not gone after us. He's not gone after even big players that have gone after
Right.
him like TYT or whatever. He's going after a young girl. And again, this is you watch Steven Crowder, the troll that he is, who is only there because other people have paid his bills to get there in the first place, and a bunch of other pundits on the conservative bent on YouTube who, of course, get their marching orders from billionaires. And my point to them, my question to them is, if Greta's so irrelevant, if no one follows her, if her points don't mean anything, if she doesn't know what she's talking about, why are you taking the time to call her out all the time? See, I understand the rules for rulers as much as I think I do. You only go after people like that are a threat to your established order. And if Greta, in her young age, can sit in front of Parliament in a Scandinavian country and build a movement off of that, boy, must they be scared if they are worldwide condemning her today and always, if they become the representative of all that is bad of the climate movement. As I will tell you right now, I don't talk about people, or we don't talk about people on the show. Generally, we don't punch water the same way they do all the time. They should be busy. If they have their great argument to counter this. If Steve Mnuchin has a good argument, he should just work on making that great argument and polish it up and work it out there. And in the marketplace of ideas, Greta will be easily washed away by his superior intellect. But wait, he's not doing that. He's trying to dissuade her character. Your Crowders of the world are trying to dissuade their character because, let's face it, she's making a movement on her own. Well, at this point, it's a group effort that is challenging what they do. And it's some little girl that and they don't even have arguments for her. They don't even have she's wrong on this thing. And no, what they say is she should stop being stupid and autistic. She should just focus on getting an economics degree, because they don't have an actual argument against what she's saying. They just have insults.
So I want to point out a couple of things. So she made these arguments at the World Economic Forum on Tuesday. She said, "We demand at this year's World Economic Forum, participants from all companies, banks, institutions, governments, immediately halt all investments in fossil fuel exploration and extraction, immediately end all fossil fuel subsidies, and immediately and completely divest from fossil fuels. We don't want these things done by 2050, 2030, or even 2021. We want this done now." In response to this, right, so that almost, goes against what Steve Mnuchin is saying already. I mean, listen to this part. She says, "It may seem like we're asking for a lot, and you may, of course, say that we're naive. But this is just the very minimum amount of effort that is needed to start the rapid, sustainable transition." She's right. And she sort of anticipates that argument by saying, "You're going to call us naive." Let's see Steve Mnuchin call her naive, shall we? He says, "Is she a chief economist? Who is she? I'm confused. After she goes and studies economics in college, she can come back and explain that to us." Get out of here. You're going to sit there and smear this teenager, this climate activist who is accurately pointing out that fossil fuel use, exploration, and extraction, these subsidies, are the thing that continues to pump greenhouse gases into our atmosphere, exacerbating climate catastrophe. This is a thing that requires action on a global scale, and you see countries all over the world making steps to address this, reducing fossil fuel usage. I forget which country it is. It was one of the Nordic countries that they produce so much electricity off of burning garbage that they're having to import garbage.
Norway or Sweden.
It's Norway or Sweden,
Yeah.
something like that. China's making major investments into solar farms and wind farms. I saw a recent interview. Daniel Haifong on Red Lines was saying that he was in Beijing recently and he was stunned at how quiet it was given the large number of electric vehicles in the country. It's amazing to me that an argument against climate change is like, but if we do it, China's just going to burn all the coal. They could just pollute all the time. It's like, well, you know what China's doing? China is investing heavily in solar and wind and going green and everything. In fact, they're the world's #1 producer of solar panels. You're going to accuse them of taking advantage of us trying to do what they're leading the world in?
So you know what's going to be really funny is when China starts exporting solar panels and all that other stuff to the rest of the world, the U.S. is going to go, that's an unfair advantage that they have. We have to tariff them because it's not fair that they're beating us at a thing that we said that they would never do. And I just want to make as a final note from this story and where we're at here. Greta's making a movement happen. She's changing the world, and she's leading her own movement to do it, as we all are trying to on our own way. And you have people like Crowder who are just like, oh, we'll reduce her to sound bites about how dare you. Who do you think's going to win in the end?